Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Simple Living PEI. It is almost Easter. Can you believe it? It's almost Easter. That means, like, Easter is on what? April Fool's Day this year? I poor pity all the kids that are going to go searching for Easter eggs on Easter morning. Oh my goodness. But anyway, we are going to prep for our Easter dinner. So now, yeah, it is just Fred and I. And we are actually going to cook a small little turkey that I've had in the freezer for a little while. I took that out of the freezer 3 days ago in the fridge, and it's been slowly thawing out, but we'll cook that tomorrow. But today, we're going to do a little bit, one, of a retro dish, simple little thing. We're also going to make our dessert and get it ready for tomorrow. So let me show you what we're going to do today. All right, so first thing, these are those potatoes that we had in the freezer. This we're going to play with tomorrow. They're almost thawed out, but we're going to play with eggs. Now, if you notice, I have all these eggs on their sides in a bowl. So our retro dish, we're actually going to make deviled eggs, which I've not made in years. Now, the reason why the eggs are on their sides, it's a nice little tip from Miss Nigella Lawson. And I never thought about it. She takes the eggs out the day before, leaves them in a dish, and lets them lay on their sides. That way the yolk's in the middle. Who knew? I had no idea. So we're going to start by getting the eggs in the water. We're going to boil these up, get them cooling down, and then we're going to make our dessert for Easter dinner. Let's start making dessert. So we've got one of those little, just add a little bit of butter and water, tiny cookie mixes. We've got about a quarter cup of butter. And we need to put about a tablespoon of water in here too. So let's pop all that in. And I think that was only a teaspoon. I don't think I put in enough butter or enough water. If it's a little bit too much water, it's actually not really such a big deal either. There we go. That should be enough. Decided to get gloves because this is going to be one of those things that we're going to get our hands into. So what we're making is basically a cookie crust cheesecake. I'm trying to decide though, am I going to put some of that black cocoa that I have in the cheesecake? I just don't know. Now I know I probably could be doing this with a mixer and things, but it's only a small package and I didn't want to, waste cookie dough in the mixer, so we'll do it this way. Into the pie plate. All I want though is the cookie dough on the bottom. Basically, I'm making one great big cookie. All right, I'm going to let this bake, and it needs to get cold. It's not going to be completely baked, so we're only going to bake this for maybe 5 minutes, give or take. Now, the reason we want it cold is that if we have a hot cookie and then we put cheesecake batter on there, it doesn't come out so good. All right, let me get this in the oven. So I know I'm going to be making more deviled eggs than I'll probably eat, but I really like deviled eggs. So I'm going to make the deviled eggs. Okay. So maybe those last two we'll make egg salad tomorrow, maybe. All right, so I put those other two in a little bowl in the fridge. I was walking around with an egg in my hand. Go figure. All right. Ta-da! All right, there we go. We have deviled egg halves. Now the centers, just gonna break them up here a bit. I'm just gonna be making just a plain deviled egg, nothing spectacular, nothing fancy. A little bit of mayonnaise, hopefully not too much. Oh, that's not too much. That's actually not enough. A little bit more. This is why we have a towel handy. So, a little bit of parsley, because I have parsley. A little bit of onion. Not a lot, just a little bit. And our garlic escape powder. Yeah, it'll turn them a little bit green, but I'm not that worried about it. We're using pre-ground pepper because it's finer. And a hair of salt. Just a tiny bit. We are going to put a little bit more mayonnaise. I want them creamier than that. Woo! Oops. That was an oops. There we go. There's people that put the yolks, I should say, through like a sieve or whatever, or they'll use a beater, stuff like that. Me, I don't mind the fact that it's got lumps. I know a lot of people don't like lumps. I'm looking at it as I made it. It didn't come from a restaurant and whatever. It's not for a dinner party. It's for me and Fred. I'm happy with this. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's find out. They'll either look good or they'll look terrible. I guess I'll find out. I honestly have no idea when the last time was I even made deviled eggs. I have no clue. I honestly can't figure it out. I was talking to Fred about it too, and neither of us can remember. Oh, well, that works. Look at that. Not perfect. Do I care? No. Will they taste good? Of course they will. Oops, air bubble. Got a couple that I can put some more in. We'll just top it up. There we go. Yay, look at that, eh? We have weird looking deviled eggs. And deviled eggs just are not complete without paprika on top. All right. Deviled eggs are sliding all over. I'm going to put these in the fridge, and once they firm up a little bit, I'll just put some plastic over top. First dish for Easter, all done. It's cheesecake time. Now, I use the Philadelphia recipe. It is the easiest recipe in the world. I have 2 blocks of cream cheese. Now the ratio, 1 block of cream cheese, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of sugar, vanilla to taste. Works out to be about a teaspoon of vanilla for 2 blocks of cream cheese. It is the absolutely easiest cream cheese recipe out there. Let's make this nice and fluffy. Okay, whoops, get up there now. Scrape this down. The whole point is to get the cream cheese nice and soft. Kind of get as many lumps out as you can. Okay? Now, if you've never made cheesecake, like I said, it's ridiculously easy. There's a lot of really good no-bake mixes out there. Lots of great no-bake recipes too, but I like the bake recipes. 1 egg at a time. Make sure it's incorporated fully before you do the next one. One egg in. Second egg. scrape down the sides. There we go. Let me grab the sugar. Make make your 2 blocks of cream cheese nice and smooth, or as smooth as you can get it. Add the eggs 1 egg at a time, incorporate them fully, and then of course scrape down the sides. And it's a 1/4 cup of sugar for each block. Like I said, the Philadelphia recipe I actually find the absolute easiest to do. So I'm going to mix in the sugar a little bit first. Now I do admit I always do this backwards, because you're actually supposed to put the sugar in the cream cheese first and then add the eggs. But I find mixing the sugar and the cream cheese together first, I find it a little taxing on my old mixer here. So I tend to do it after. I mean, it makes it, I have to mix it a little bit longer to get the grain, you know, the sugar to dissolve, but hey, it happens. Okay, let's give this a little bit of a scrape down. And to be honest, it really doesn't make that much difference when I make it. So you might get the odd grain of sugar, oh my gosh. But I really don't find it that much of a problem. And as you noticed, it makes it really nice and fluffy. There we go. I'm gonna go and get the crust. Alrighty guys, here's our finished cookie crust. It is not 100% baked. Don't forget, it's gonna finish baking in the oven. What I did is I pressed it down a little bit so it wasn't quite so fluffy. And I think we're gonna screw around with our cheesecake just a little bit. Look at the color of that. Isn't that beautiful? This is that black cocoa. I'm gonna put a couple of big spoons in there. Let's see how it comes out. Oh, look at that. Let's give it one more. Just because we can. All right. 1.5. Just because we can. All right, let's clean down the sides. Oh, all right, that was a good idea. I wasn't going to because there's chocolate chips in the cookie. And then I changed my mind. Alrighty, let's put this beautiful cheesecake in our cookie crust. I could have almost got away with just one cheesecake, but one thing of cream cheese. Excuse my fingers. I'm gonna be the one eating it anyway, so am I worried? No. Alrighty, in the oven it goes. All right, we have our appetizer and our dessert. Yay! So tomorrow, because tomorrow's Easter, we will make our version of dressing. So you guys probably think it's a little bit weird. And I don't think I've actually shared the full recipe with you. And I don't actually have all the ingredients, so it'll be almost the whole recipe. And we're gonna make our turkey. And then, to be honest, we're probably just gonna get frozen peas out because we'll have the dressing and the turkey, so it'll work out great. So, I'll show you this when it's done. This has gotta cook for an hour. A full hour. And I will do my best not to cut a piece when it comes out. Okay, it is time to make my dressing. Now, I'm actually making a fair amount of dressing because I admit I'm probably just gonna freeze the rest because I like to. All right, this is that last massive onion from the farm. So we're gonna get this chopped up first. Okay, oh, this one's got a little extra on it. Chop that off. There we go. All right, so first things first, we're going to chop up the onion. So when we make this kind of dressing, it's, if I have celery, celery goes in. If I have frozen like celery soup, like if I have frozen celery in the freezer that we use for soup, I'll put it in. Normally it's celery and onions, but I have no celery. And I did not buy any because, hey, aside from the things that I did in that little shop that I showed you the other day, we're just trying to use up what we have and hitting the really good sales for expensive things, you know, like meat. Now we have been making the majority of the bread. I do buy the odd loaf of bread at Giant Tiger or Dollarama. It kind of really depends on where I am. Okay. New cutting board. Ah, there we go. Okay, next thing is bacon. So, like I said, this is like a different kind of stuffing or dressing recipe. I guess it really depends on where you are as to what you call it. But this is the way that I like it. I have no idea who started putting some of these ingredients in a dressing, but I'm still sniffling over that onion. Sorry, guys. This is a lot of bacon. There's actually seven strips of streaky bacon. Woohoo! All right, let's get this in here. Okay. So from here, we're gonna turn this on. This is actually gonna go on really quite low. And once this is about half rendered down, we're gonna add the onions in, but we're also gonna add quite a bit of butter. We're gonna let this slowly cook. Okay. All right. Bacon is about half done. We're going to put all of these onions in there. These will sweat down quite a bit, so it won't be quite so much. And great big old huge chunk of butter. I've also started cubing up bread. Now this was the last of a baguette that we got on half price. It was in the freezer just for my dressing. We're also going to use 3 of these last rolls here. Now these guys are, what are they? Oh, they're just a Kaiser bun. These come from Walmart. We're also going to be using a little bit of sourdough. I mean, you don't have to use just white bread when you're going to make dressing. I actually like just to use whatever I've got kicking around. Alright, so these have to sweat down for a while. I'm going to turn the temperature down. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a little bit of that minced garlic in there. I was going to chop some garlic, but I think we're just going to use dried garlic today. So I've got this turned right down and it's slowly going to sweat away. And I'll keep working on the cubed bread. Woohoo! All right. So these onions have seriously sweat down and all that butter. So what I'm going to do is this bread, because this is the stalest bread, which was that baguette that we had. It's actually a ciabatta baguette. While the onions and everything is still warm, I'm going to stir those in. There we go. And now, and now this is the ingredient that a lot of you guys are going to be like, Tammy, what are you doing? So what I did is I still had potatoes left over from our cooking day. And yeah, I put potatoes in my dressing, just mashed potatoes. And we're going to use all of these. So I just put them in the freezer, covered them up, knowing full well I was just going to use them up for this. Oops. Stir all this up. And that'll actually soften out these more stale chunks of bread. All right. Get these buns out. So we're going to chop these 3 buns out. Now these Kaiser buns that you get at Walmart, they're really dense. I actually find them really good for this kind of stuff. And we're also going to put in a bunch of the bread, the sourdough. We'll start with that. If you've never made dressing with sourdough bread, you guys are missing out. These buns are the softest ones that we're putting in, so I probably should have toasted them up a bit from the looks of things. Oh, I think that's enough bread. So we still have 1 bun left, so we'll just use that for Fred's lunch. I'm making a mess. Of course, the pan is still hot, so I'm not going to get my hands in there and do this. I'm just going to use the spoon. All right, let me put this away. All right, yay. I know, putting potatoes in dressing is not normal. Now, if anybody in my mother's family remembers who did this first, please let me know, because this is the only way I like it anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll eat anybody's dressing because I love dressing. But this is the way I make it, and this is the way I like it. Now, seasonings. Parsley, because I like it. Poultry seasoning. Probably a lot more than a lot of people like. And sage. I love sage. And this is one of the times that we're going to use the pre-ground pepper because I want it finer. Now, I didn't put any salt in it. And even the salt, or the bacon, was actually low sodium. So the last thing we're going to put in there is add a little bit of Nourish broth left. So I'm going to put a little bit in there now. What I did is I just put water right in the jar. Now, I'm not putting all of that in there. There's still quite a bit left. We're going to add a little bit more. The reason being is that I want some of this for my gravy later, because we're going to add the rest of that to the juices when we cook the turkey. And yes, this is a lot of dressing, I know, but you know, I'm going to put some in the freezer because making dressing takes a lot. The recipes, I mean, making a little bit of dressing, almost impossible. And I like dressing, so I always make a ton. Okay, so like I said, it's not an ordinary dressing. This is just the way that I grew up with it. And it's just a way of making it that is really stuck, and I really like it. Now, I do not stuff the bird. It's one thing I don't do. I like the bird to cook by itself. We'll probably put a couple of onions and a couple of cloves of garlic on the inside, and then we'll season it. And then the dressing will actually get cooked in a dish, and then once the turkey's cooked, I'll take a little bit of those juices and put it on the dressing as well. So, all right. Now I've got a little bit of time to waste. Well, not really, because I got so many things to do. But that's just going to sit for a while, and we'll start cooking the turkey in a couple hours. It's smaller turkey, so it doesn't need a ton of time. It's turkey time. So what I have on there is actually one of my, you know, however many packages of Epicure. This is just a roast turkey seasoning mix, and I'm not going to lie, it's phenomenal. I actually meant to put part of this in the dressing, but I didn't. I put too much of it in there. I also opted not to put an onion inside. I just kind of put a little bit of this in there. I got the giblets in a pot. A lot of people roast these first before they make gravy. I just popped them in the pot. I figure why not. I'm gonna roast the turkey, and it'll take about 3 hours. And then it'll get basically sat out. Tinfoil on top, a couple of towels on top, and let it rest before we eat. So yeah, Easter dinner's well underway. So I'm gonna put some tinfoil on this now, get it in the oven, and we'll see you guys at dinner time. Well, there is the bird. Like I said, we put too much sauce or spice on there, but it'll still taste good. Dressing's all done, so we put a little bit of the liquid that we used to make the gravy on the dressing, and a little bit of what's left in here on the dressing. Came out so good. And finally, guys, our chocolate cheesecake. So yeah, that's Easter dinner for us. I'm gonna dish all this out. We're gonna relax. It was a super busy day, not only cooking, but a bunch of other stuff around the house. So I hope you all had a great Easter, even though Easter's long over by the time this gets posted. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time as we do our simple life here on PEI. Bye for now.